Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer inside Nebraska, and he is the Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we have another breakdown to do here, and this one is going to be a fun one. Carter Nelson style, the four-star tight end out of Ainsworth, Nebraska, the eight-man star committed to Nebraska over the likes of Georgia, Notre Dame. He took an SEC swing. He visited a lot of the SEC programs down south. A lot of those programs are pretty good at developing tight ends and sending them to the league. But Nebraska wins out. This is a big recruiting win for the Huskers. Matt Rhule, Bob Wager, the tight ends coach, even throw Danny Kaelin in. I think Danny Kaelin had some say in Carter Nelson's recruitment. So that's pretty cool. But Jay, Carter Nelson, he's a name. A lot of Husker fans know him. He's a big name. So just what are your initial thoughts on Carter Nelson entering the 2024 class for the Huskers?
Well, I mean, it's rinse and repeat, and obviously it's good news for, the coaching staff and the football team and overall kind of feeling of the Nebraska football program to get a, highly ranked, player as Carter Nelson is, and he might even be, go a little bit higher if he, continues to have a really good senior year. But I think when you beat out teams like Notre Dame, Georgia, I know he took an official visit to Alabama, and I know Nick Saban was here, and in Oklahoma, so forth and so on. You're beating some well-established football programs right now. Iowa was looking at him and stuff like that. So not looking at him, offered him. So he had anybody and everybody he could go and get an offer and a committable offer from. Nebraska was able to land him. I will say this: I think his location really worked to Nebraska's advantage. I think that, he's a kid. He's a Nebraska kid. Let's be honest. His parents are Nebraska, people.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing the logistics of getting to anywhere outside of playing Nebraska, I think works to Nebraska's advantage. But then also, I think with Wagner, Coach Rhule, Satterfield, Danny Kaelin, when you see it, and this lets you know what other peers think of Kaelin, right?
Yep.
The two Bellevue West receivers know him better than anybody.
Yep.
But then Carter Nelson knows about him and has seen him play as well. And also his personality, his ability to lead that will allow you to recruit and land Carter Nelson. It's a big get for Nebraska because athletic-wise, you're not going to get much better than that. 6'4", 220. Mm-hmm. I saw the first time I ever seen him, he was playing basketball, and I was like, who is this kid? First of all, he's from Ainsworth, right? And I was like, man, I don't know where he came or what was going on out there, but he don't look like an athlete from Ainsworth. And I saw him playing basketball, and he's explosive, right? Mm-hmm. Legitimately, easily an explosive dunker of the basketball, a good athlete. He's a kid that he can play any sport and he's athletic.
Yes.
And then you go to his track, where he does, he's 7-foot high jumper.
Yeah.
He's fast. He's big. He has quickness. He's explosive. And just look, you can't. Here's what I won't do. I won't fault him for playing 8-man because that's where he was born and that's where he lives. So it's not like he's chosen to play 8-man football versus 11. I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm going to say, look, that's just part of the recruiting process and development where we need to get him up to speed. And that's to be able to evaluate him as a football player. But athletic wise and the playmaking ability that you see, you can't deny that. And I think it's a great get for Nebraska. I know that whether it's Kaelin and whenever he gets on the field or potentially hopefully gets on the field, Satterfield and Rhule and Coach Wagner definitely got to be excited because you're getting a guy that can cause some legitimate matchup problems along with a lot of the other guys that they've recruited. They definitely were probably sitting on cloud 9 when they got the commitment from him.
Absolutely. So before we get into Carter's highlights here, just a little background information. Rivals has him as a 4-star recruit, the 161st national recruit. He's a top player in Nebraska, and he's a 7th tight end prospect. But as we get into this, we'll talk about how he's probably going to be a hybrid guy, receiver, tight end mix. Just we know about the frame, 6'4", around 220 pounds, and I'm really excited about the potential for him as somebody with, when you get the ball in his hands, his movement skills are just I just don't think that many 6'4", 220 pounders can move like he can. And I have a quote here from Carter. I was in Ainsworth for his commitment announcement where he committed to the Huskers. And we were talking about Marcus Satterfield, and here's Carter Nelson's quote about how he plans to be used once he gets to Nebraska. Quote, Satterfield told me he's not going to put me at tight end right away. He's going to let my body slowly develop the right way. If it happens that I move away from tight end, I move away from tight end. But he's going in with an open mindset. He doesn't have tight end on my name. He just has athlete on it. So Jay,
Right.
when you hear Carter Nelson's words talk about, I guess, using him as a hybrid tight end at the next level, somebody who maybe is split out more than being an inline tight end. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I think it shows that, look, they understand where he's at right now.
Yep.
He hasn't played a traditional tight end position. So it would be counterproductive to go and recruit a kid and tell him you're going to have him do something that he's never done before. So you're already, 2 years behind him, essentially getting on the field when you're recruiting him. That's the fastest way to lose a recruit. So I like the mindset of say, listen, we're going to bring you in as an athlete. You're a superior athlete. You can't deny that. I don't care if he's playing 2-man football. You can't deny it. So we're going to bring you in and we're going to accentuate what you do well. At the same time, we're slowly but surely going to work on what you need to develop. And that's learning to be a blocker, right? Period. Whether it's on the line, in the line, movement blocker, blocking out in space. So he's going to be a hybrid, but I think really, the position that they need to probably name it is the position called the problem causer, right? And that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to cause problems in matchups. He's going to cause problems in personnel groupings from the defense and defensive coordinator. And he's going to, ideally, whenever he gets on the field and whenever he's ready, cause problems as far as on the field, being whether you put a linebacker like a Jay Foreman on him, an inside linebacker, an outside linebacker, a safety. Do you try to use up your hybrid? Then does it open it up for another tight end position, a tight end, or a slot receiver or a running back? It can, if he develops and does some things, it'll definitely come to fruition and be an X factor, and it'll accentuate everybody else in their class and who they have on their roster. I think really what it comes down for him, he's a 4-star recruit, and that's great, and a lot of it's based on athletic ability, because you can't say it's been on competition, right? But I think really he has to have a 5-star mindset. He has a 5-star mindset, he's going to be a productive player here. And what I mean by that is he has got to attack getting better every single day at things he's never done before. I'm not going to tell you he's not a good blocker, right? Because he's never blocked before. What I'm going to tell you is he's not developed that as a blocker, right? So essentially, I'm not going to tell you that he's a bad blocker. I'm just going to say he's not a good blocker yet. So what he has to do is get better at that. That's going to open up his, pass catching game, so forth and so on. So I think it's a good way to start. And I think by starting that way, you actually open up a path and a realistic path for him to look at, okay, I need to do A, B, C, and D in order to play early. And that's how you get a 4-star recruit, the number 1 player in your state. If you make a habit of getting, out of the top 5, if you can get 3 or 4 of those top 5 players in your state every year, like Nebraska has committable wise, you will be having a different story every year at the end of the season, and it'll be in a positive manner.
For sure. And I'm glad you brought up the blocking, because, when I was in Ainsworth, I was talking with him about Marcus Satterfield, how they plan to use him, what the pitch was to Carter Nelson once he got to Lincoln. And I straight up asked, like, Carter, like, what about blocking? I know, I played 8-man football, so I understand what it's like. You give the most athletic kid the ball in nearly every play. That's 8-man football. But so he has the ball a lot, and I just asked him about what kind of experiences he has as a blocker, and he says not much, but he's done it on the perimeter, just blocking for screens and things like that. So that he was straight up, he understood that was an area that he still needs to develop. And I think that's something where if fans are expecting Carter Nelson to come on and compete in his first true freshman season, maybe slow down a little bit and let the kid develop first. He's a extremely great talent, but maybe one that might need a season or two just to adjust to everything, because there's going to be a massive adjustment. But enough talking about that. Let's hit the highlights here, Jay. This was a fun one to break down because I didn't put any catches on here. We know Carter Nelson can catch. He has really good hands. What I wanted this video to be about was to show people and give them look at what kind of movement skills this kid has, because at 6'4", around 220 pounds, he moves really. I think his movement skills are special. I mean, when he stops on a dime and changes direction is really fun to watch.
Yeah, when you look at him right now, I mean, when you're looking at his tape, he's legit, 6'4", well over 200 pounds, well over 210, and you see him getting it right here. So he's running these routes right here. It's like a jailbreak screen, like a receiver. He's catching it, and then, he obviously it's 8-man football. He has enough speed to take it to the house. So when you look at this right here, I'm looking at, does he have wasted steps as a big guy? Catches it, hand catcher, breaks a tackle. Next thing you know, obviously right there, you hit the sideline, he can outrun angles as he should. That's why you're a 4-star recruit and you're a superior athlete, than anybody that's on either one of the sidelines. But I mean, you're right. You want to look at it. You can catch, but the biggest thing for him that was appealing to all the top schools, throughout the nation, is his athletic ability and his ability to turn something small into explosive play. Yeah. Like when coaches are looking at this, the really good coaches are looking at this. They're not going to look at what he can't do. They're going to look at what he can do. What he can do is something that a lot of people throughout the nation at his position, hybrid/tight end, can't do. That acceleration right there, you can't deny that. Now, does that mean that if he's playing against, Class A competition, Bellevue West, West Side, Gretna, or whatever, that he's going to take a pass, 70, 80 yards? No. But what it means is if somebody misses on him on any level of playing, he will house call you. Maybe not to the same replication in numerous times like he has it in 8-man, but he definitely has home run potential. That acceleration right there is what is one of the main reasons Kirby Smart and Nick Saban took the trek out to Ainsworth. This right here is something that they have seen not a lot on tape. Right there from that 30 to 40. And where by the time that he gets there, it's you seen the young man right there. He knew there wasn't a chance that he could get him. And so this is what you're talking about: athletic ability and the ability to go from from first gear to fifth gear very quickly. This is a true, pure, superior athlete right there, and that play right there showed it.
What I wanted to do with that first play, we can go back to it, was just he doesn't. Look, he catches the screen and outruns everybody, but I wanted to use it because nobody touches him after he breaks the initial tackle. And this is Burwell. Burwell's a really good 8-man program in the state. Right. And, I just really love the fact that once he broke that tackle, nobody touched him because he was gone. You talk about the explosion at 6'4". It's just, you don't see that often around in this state with these guys, the size that Carter Nelson is, and then he just turns on the jets and he is gone. Like nobody had a chance to touch him. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to use that first one. This next play I thought was kind of funny because he's Ainsworth is in punt formation. Carter Nelson punts too. And, he just took and ran for a touchdown. And just the athletic ability that he showed and the stiff arm at the end was fun to watch. But again, the movement skills, he takes the snap. And I mean, he just juked, 3 people out of their shoes. And again, at 6'4", planting that right leg and getting upfield. I mean, I just really like this. I think this is special.
Listen, when you play 8-man football, you got to be punter, kicker. You got to be the water boy. You got to be the athletic trainer. You got to be defensive end, quarterback, running back. But right here, what I like right here is the ability to set up his moves right there, and he's sudden with it. He juked my man there. My man there is sitting there looking like he was lost in translation. So look, again, you're looking at him and saying that this is what you expect, right? For a Power 5 recruit and be a 4-star. He should be doing this. Mm-hmm. But what you have to look at is what can be transferable to your program or your offense, right? Yeah. So you have to imagine not him being a punter and running a fake punt, right? Because you're going against the best conference and the best athletes and the best coaches in the Big Ten. But what you're trying to project is the ability to make people miss right there. But then this move right here coming up right about now, okay, this one right there, this is what you want to project into your offensive system. You would like to see an Iowa defender sitting there looking like Boo-Boo the Fool right there. And then you want to see this right here, being able to run after the catch, stiff arm, and things you want to do. You can project that to any defensive back. Now, ideally or realistically, Big Ten defensive backs are going to be able to get him down. But you know what? If you get somebody that's getting caught coming out of their back pedal, he's going to be able to take a house call. So this is just another, all of his plays are going to show superior athletic ability. You also can't discredit him for the fact that he is a superior athlete. I like the fact that he's aggressive enough to do it on a consistent basis. So to me, I'm going to say, you know what? I like his mindset. He loves football. He loves to dominate. He understands where he's at. And also from when, you know, you're saying when you talk to him, he understands there's some improvement that he needs
Yes, he does.
He needs that. So he knows he's not going to be one of those guys that's going to come in and expect to do the same things that he did in 8-man football in the Big Ten.
Oh, yes.
Being realistic and being humble when you're a superior player is a lost recruiting aspect or a lost aspect in evaluation. And he checks all those boxes. And so, I think it's, again, another example of being a great athlete.
For sure. And that's why I didn't want to just add this because he was a playing punter, took the snap and just ran for a touchdown. I wanted to show fans the movement skills again at 6'4", 220, and just the athletic ability that, and his mindset. This was against Loomis. He knew that he was the alpha on the field, and he just did what he thought he could do, and it wound up working. Again, he took a lot of direct snaps at Ainsworth. He'll be doing it again for his senior season. Jay, this is just another one where look at the movement skills. He takes it. I mean, not touched, not touched. Maybe somebody clicks his calf, runs for a touchdown, untouched.
See, the thing is, I like better now. I mean, we could keep talking about athletic ability and being able to hit the corner. And what I always say, Steve, the most explosive plays come on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
But here's why I like Carter Nelson. He gave him a move that has withstood the test of time. Okay. And what I mean by that is, if the world ended, they always say, like, cockroaches would be alive. But there's another thing that would be alive then when sports in football in particular started back up, and that's called the dead leg. Carter Nelson just gave this man the dead leg. Now he has a fan in Jay Foreman, and everybody wants to call it the hesitation if you bring it to basketball, but it's called the dead leg. See right there? You give him the dead leg one way, you think let him think that you're going left, hit the sidelines, cock the head back, it's touchdown. So again, we know he's a superior athlete. There's not much more we can say athletically about him, but I like his ability to take something out of nothing, right? Look, this is schemed up from a defensive coordinator standpoint. When you are going against a really good player, we have him outside leverage, inside leverage. You have another guy looping around right here. So you have outside coverage, you have inside guy coming, or outside guy, inside guy, or middle guy, and an inside guy. 55 right there is your inside guy. 13 who's going to get, duped by the dead leg. And then you had another defender right there. So what you generally, like in the passing schemes, you say, okay, well, there's coverage beaters. Well, this is a results beater here, right? You call the perfect defense and he still beats you. That's to let you know that he's a big time player and it's a big time play by him. It looked like for, Ainsworth, that's a pretty packed house out there, man. You got people leaving their houses right up there. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's in Ainsworth and he's playing 8-man football. He's a legend out there, but he's making his legendary status grow by showing up every single game and being competitive. He's a competitor. You could very easily say, hey, look, I'm Carter Nelson. I'm just going to just kind of coast and I'm a good athlete and I'm not going to try that hard. Look, he's playing football, with some good intensity there. I like it right here. Again, boom, dead leg, gave another one, stiff arm right there. The thing is that I would implore the people that are listening, if you go back, look at the ability to start and stop right here.
Exactly.
This has nothing to do with 8-man football. This is why everybody's excited about him, and they know potentially he could be something pretty special if he works at it, right?
The start and stop is crazy.
This is no different. Now, this is no different than I remember watching Lamar Jackson's tape, high school tape. I was like, this dude is in Florida making kids look like this, right? Now, he's not Lamar Jackson, but in this league, he is Lamar Jackson. That's a really good move right there. And that's what get guys, excited. And the reason why it gets coaches excited, the Kirby Smarts, the Matt Rhules, the, Marcus Freemans, the Ferentz, Kurt Ferentz and all the other tight end guru, universities or universities that have put a lot of guys in the NFL is being a legit 6'4", 215, 20 pounds and doing this. Now, if he was, 6'1", they'd be like, all right, he's just good out there. And then that would be his negative. He's a legit. He has passed the eyeball test when he's went places. That's why these teams have continued to recruit him, or did recruit him up into his commitment, and wanted him really bad because, look, when I'm sure Kirby Smart was like, oh, there's a kid from Ainsworth, Nebraska. He's 6'4", 220. Well, they're expecting him to go down there and be, 6'2" and a half, 205. Well, he's 6'4", 220 and doing some things that they hadn't seen somebody from that size doing. So that's where you get a lot of the recruiting aspects and the rankings for him and being the number one prospect in the state.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think it's fairly evident that when Georgia, Kirby Smart, they were trying to recruit and commit Cutter Nelson, Brock Bowers' name came up quite often. And everybody knows Brock Bowers. He's 6. He's much like Cutter Nelson, I think, just a younger version.
Yeah.
Brock is 6'4", around 230 pounds, but he's still that hybrid receiver type that, it's just, he could be the next Brock Bowers. Who knows? Let's let Cutter Nelson be Cutter Nelson when he grows up. So, hey, Jay, that was some awesome analysis with Cutter Nelson from 8-Man Land out in Ainsworth. But one question, and we have 6 minutes left here. How difficult do you think, and it's something that I've been wanting to ask you for a while now, how difficult is it going to be for him transitioning to the 8-man game to Power 5, 11-man football? Just, 3 more guys on the field and everything. Right. And just what's he going to be asked to do? Especially, we talked about the blocking aspect where he hasn't really done it too much. He'll be asked to block in college. So
I think it'll be, obviously, I think there's going to be a transition, right? There's going to be, 6 more guys out there, but I really don't think it's going to be something that's going to stop him from being effective player. I think it's going to be something that he'll, adjust to within the first month or two. And quite frankly, probably in the first couple of weeks. I think the biggest adjustment will be the speed of everybody else, right? Yeah. And then, the size of everybody else. But I think that'll be something he'll get used to the more that he's around it. And then I think as far as like the competition level, I think the biggest thing that they need to do is focus on and accentuate what he does well. Everything that they do, blocking, learning the scheme, is no different than anybody else, except for if you could compare him to another tight end, they might have blocked a little bit in high school. But I look at it differently with a superior athlete like this. He's a blank slate. He's never been coached to block before. So essentially, he's only going to know what you teach him. So the improvement potentially, right, is it could be very quickly because you're teaching him how to use his superior athletic ability with your techniques. Now, again, like I said it before, he needs to just have a 5-star mindset, and they needed to develop him at a pace that he's okay with, and he shows you he can be effective. If you find a way to get him confident and show him, how to do some of the things you need to do, blocking in space, things that he could do naturally from his athletic ability, and don't hinder him from getting on the field and being a pass catcher, you'll see him improve faster in the other areas, which then will accentuate his athletic ability, the ability to score and to be explosive and open things up for everybody else. So I think it's going to be something that is going to be an ongoing process. But I think also the biggest thing here before we go off is, from what you've told me and what the couple other people I've talked to about him, is his mindset. His mindset right now in being humble and understanding and embracing it, right? That he has to get better. And he understands it. He's not coming in expecting to do the same things he did in high school in the Big Ten against NFL caliber talent, NFL caliber coaches that he's never done before. That will allow him to be long-term successful and won't be 3 years down the road wondering what if. I think he'll meet all expectations as long as he stays out of his own way.
Yep. Nebraska is getting an absolutely great kid in Cutter Nelson who wants to be great, who wants to work better and understands he has a ways to go. But hey, we will see, and we'll be watching with much interest with Cutter Nelson during his Husker career. He fits along with Ishmael Smith Flores in the 2023 class. He fits with the Keelan Smith out of Missouri in the 2024 class. Of these hybrid bodies, these skill players that can do a little bit of 2 things, whether they're a running back, receiver, tight end, whatever. Kwan Lacey, the running back in the 2024 class, is another guy that they might view as a hybrid body. So Just really, really fun times to be following Nebraska recruiting. So, but yeah, that was Carter Nelson, 4-star tight end out of Ainsworth, Nebraska. He is Jay Foreman. I am Steve Marik, and that was a Blackshirt breakdown. We'll catch y'all later.